It's 3 p.m. on Friday here in Seoul. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Hwang Ji-hye. Our top story this afternoon, South Korea has joined hands with the United States and Japan to press the international community to get more serious about punishing North Korea for its nuclear and missile provocations. Kwon So-ah reports.
South Korea, the United States, and Japan are calling on the international community to actively implement UN sanctions on North Korea. The UN ambassadors of the three countries led a debate at the UN headquarters in New York on Thursday, along with other UN officials, scholars, and business people, on the assessment and challenges ahead regarding the implementation of Resolution 2270. It was adopted in March upon Pyongyang's fourth nuclear test in January. Seoul's ambassador Oh Jun said North Korea's 4 nuclear tests are evidence of the regime's unwillingness to abide by international rules. He added that making Pyongyang's nuclear development difficult and costly is the only way to curb its nuclear ambitions. U.S. Envoy Samantha Power stressed the responsibility of member states, saying financial transmissions to the North and goods inspections need to be enforced.
Member states need to make sure that unreported or illicit transfers to the DPRK do not actually occur.
Japan's ambassador Goro Besho emphasized that the issue is not only a threat to countries close to North Korea.
The nuclear question of North Korea, DPRK, is not just a question for immediate neighbors like us, but it is a great threat to the whole world.
The meeting also served to press UN member states to submit their sanctions implementation reports to a UN committee. They were supposed to do so within 90 days of the adoption of Resolution 2270. However, the majority have yet to do so. Kwon So-ah, ARIRANG News.
The Bank of Korea has approved a loan worth around $8.7 billion to help facilitate the government's corporate restructuring drive. Now, this marks the official launch of the recapitalization fund that was announced early last month. The fund will expand the capital base of state-run banks, those being Korea Development Bank and Korea Exim Bank, that have high debt exposure to foundering local shipbuilders. The loan will be dispersed through the Industrial Bank of Korea, which will use the capital to buy COCO bonds issued by the state banks. COCO bonds, or contingent convertibles, are simply put the riskiest debt issued by banks that are automatically converted to equity under set conditions. The funds will be provided upon the request of the state banks until the end of next year, but the BOK added there is the possibility of extended assistance. Now, facing sluggish global demand, Korea's exports have been on a downward spiral for a year and a half now. But there could be a glint of light at the end of the tunnel as the pace of decline in June slowed to its lowest level in a year. Kim Min-ji with the details.
Korea's exports may be getting back on the recovery track. The Trade Ministry says outbound shipments fell 2.7% from a year ago to $45.3 billion last month. It marks the 18th straight month on the slide, but the rate of decline slowed significantly.
Despite a decline in the number of workdays, the pace of decline was the slowest in a year. The average daily export value in June was also the highest in September of last year.
On top of that, exports denominated in the Korean won rose 2.4%, posting gains for a second straight month. The ministry attributed the better performance to a rise in exports of computers and value-added chips, as well as a slowing contraction in outbound shipments of major export items such as semiconductors and steel. Imports tumbled 8% on year to almost $33.7 billion, also falling for the 18th straight month. Without the trade surplus in June came to over $11.6 billion, extending the surplus streak to 53 months. The ministry expects exports to maintain the recovery momentum in the latter half of the year, but vowed to closely monitor global conditions in the aftermath of Britain's departure from the European Union. The ministry also said it would take the necessary steps to minimize the negative impact on the country's exports. Kim Min-ji, ARIRANG News.
Some skillful political maneuvering by his Leave co-campaigner Michael Gove has left Boris Johnson out in the cold, forcing him to pull out of the race to replace David Cameron as Britain's next prime minister. Mr. Gove has a good chance, but Theresa May has emerged as the odds-on favorite, and she insists there will be no revote on Brexit. Park Jong-hong reports.
With the political turmoil swirling in the wake of the referendum result, speculation about a possible revote has been flatly ruled out. British Interior Minister Theresa May, who is the Conservative Party's frontrunner for Prime Minister, says she will honor the people's decision.
Brexit means Brexit. The campaign was fought, the vote was held, turnout was high, and the public gave their verdict. There must be no attempts to remain inside the EU, no attempts to rejoin it through the back door, and no second referendum.
The no revote stance is shared by other leading contenders in the Conservative Party, including Justice Minister Michael Gove and former Defense Minister Liam Fox. Once considered the favorite for Britain's top political post, former London Mayor Boris Johnson has sensationally pulled out of the race. In a short statement Thursday, Johnson said that after consulting with his colleagues and in view of the circumstances, he wouldn't throw his hat in the ring. Johnson's announcement is the latest in a series of massive political bombshells since Prime Minister David Cameron announced last week he would step down in the coming months. Pundits say Johnson's decision has significantly boosted Theresa May's chances of succeeding Cameron. Park Jong-hong, ARIRANG News.
And that brings us to the end of our newscast. More updates coming up at 6 p.m. Korea time, so stay tuned and goodbye for now.